And I've told you about my background that came from management, grew up right into senior management areas. But so there is one thing I'm comparing all the way along, and it's been sitting in my mind all the way through. So I'm really trying to put something out here that's been sitting swirling in the back of my brain for a few years. And that is the statement: whenever I've been in a leadership position, even in difficult situations, I've been able to implement a faster, better, more aligned, agile implementation than when I'm in a pure coaching role. Now, when I think of that, I also think, well, that's not a coach. The coach is an influencer. But I've just been through explaining times when coaches can actually be ineffective or take time to become effective. So it's a very difficult times. But when you're in a leadership position, there is an expectation that, yes, we'll give this a try. And it's not until people actually say, yes, okay, we have to do this, let's give this a try, then they're suddenly realizing what that does and how that helps them. And they take it off from there. It turns into more a coaching situation from that point, because it needs somebody to come in, and certainly leadership area, to come in and say, this is what we're doing. How are we going to go about this? And it's up to the teams to say, right, well, and our team's different than everybody else, and every team is different. Therefore, we do these things better going this way. And that's what you want, that sort of thought around it. But you need that leadership position, that something that's there. Let's take a look, as I said before, at leadership itself. Now, here's a standard IT leadership chart. Now, I agree. I'm focusing on IT at the moment because IT is where most of this agile transformation started from or going through. So please excuse me if I'm not looking at the HR chart or the financial chart or anything else like that. This is from here. You've got at the top of that CIO. Underneath that, you might have line managers. Underneath the line managers, you've got team managers and team members, and then a scrum master out the side of that. And way out the side here is the agile coach. So they're a single person, or hopefully 2 or 3 people who are off to the side, who are going around trying to get people to just talk to people, see how they're going, have a look at things. You know, can I listen in on your stand-ups? All these other bits and pieces that the agile coach does. They're there. What I tried to think of is a leadership way of doing something. And I came across a couple of ideas in trying to get this to work. The first idea was to change that. To the agile leader or the coach being an agile leader, having the scrum masters reporting to them. So the agile leader can say to the scrum masters, this is what we need to implement. See if you can get your teams to talk around how they're going to do that. So there is that. But again, it still didn't sit well with me. And I thought further again, and I thought, well, what about, instead of having the line manager, have that as an agile leader, down to the scrum masters who are this, instead of having team leads, you've got the scrum master being a team lead. Yes, it's a different thought. And it's away from this old idea of the scrum. I use scrum master, by the way, because it's a standard term nowadays. I'm not specifically relating to Scrum, or I'm not specifically relating to Scaled Agile Framework or to anything else. I'm just using that word as the, because it's known that that role, if you like, is understood. But so I've turned this into, instead of Scrum Master, a Scrum Lead. In that respect. So their focus is on agile rather than on, or agile leadership, if you like, going through there. There's the advantages that, yeah, the focus is on value and agility, agile knowledge and experience, agile coaching, servant leadership, all the way there. And then I thought, why do we stop here? And I took a look at that CIO role and look at the changes that have happened to the CIO role over the years, Chief Information Officer. They started out as all the IT was run by the Chief Financial Officer when I started out in this process. So the Chief Financial Officer had a control on the money side. So they had a financial focus. We then had something called an IT manager. An IT manager just was supporting the hardware, reactive mode, implementing projects type mode, that sort of an area. It wasn't really all that strategic. Then you've got what happened was, that changed to information, because they wanted to get away from the hardware side of things because it was more about the information. So we had an information manager whose focus is on information, but again, yes, it was still hardware in the end of that. So then there was a recognition as we're going through that IT actually contributed to the bottom line of the organization. And a lot of organizations were suddenly becoming all about how their IT worked and what was happening and information that happened through. So they wanted to make that, the executives wanted to make that a strategic position. So they created this Chief Information Officer, which is strategy. They were now an executive position, sitting on the executive table. Lately, there's a change of that into a Chief Digital Officer, which is all about digital, which is trying again to take it away from hardware. It's not about the computers, it's not about the laptops, it's not about anything else. Most organizations now don't even have a single server in their whole organization. It's all about, and a lot of them, your work from home system there, where you're not even supplying people with computers at all in some cases. So it's all about digital, and it's all about making it all work together. It's all about the cloud. It's all about ensuring safety and security of the processes, the information flow. So I took a look at that, seeing what was happening. Now, if you take a look at this done out, I think from the 2020 State of Agile report, I think that is, you'll see that these areas here in green, which is all things on the right here, which is a visionary value creator, business collaboration, and pragmatism. They're all from high growth organizations. Their CIOs focus on those areas. So the role in CIO is changing. So yes, exactly. Today, CIOs spend an impressive 59% of their time on activities that spur innovation. So their focus is changing as well. 29% prioritize business collaboration skills. So it's again areas that the CIO role is changing over time. So it's